of a Woodbridge Commission. I would just like you to review, I have the minutes from June 27th and July 25th. If there are any comments. Honestly, I don't remember why the votes were postponed, truthfully. But I do have both sets.
Right.
If anyone has any questions.
I just had one question on them.
On which one?
I'm just, on the 27th of
Okay.
June meeting.
Okay, it's, okay.
The last paragraph, it said, Rich noted that the latest toll proposal for the property. And I think my comments were, if in fact Toll Brothers what they were gonna put their proposal, could we still have a 9-hole course? I think that was my comment. And I think I've asked you people to see if it was possible with the Toll Brothers proposal, was there enough property left over to have a 9-hole course? And I think you guys were gonna look at it.
Well, it's kind of a moot point now.
Well, I don't think it's a moot point yet, to be honest with you. I mean, let's put it this way, there's a proposal in front of the town. And I've got a lot of questions on that proposal. So I'm not sure that the Toll Brothers proposal is completely out of the picture. Because who knows what's gonna happen with this proposal, whether it goes before the town and it gets voted or it doesn't get voted.
Does anybody know how long it's going to take for this proposal to get approval from New Haven?
I have no idea. I
Yale.
don't think anyone knows.
Joe, you know?
I have no idea.
No idea. How long do you think the golf course, the way it is, can last without maintenance to it?
Month. Are you talking just,
60 days maybe?
Yeah. So you're obviously it's weather dependent. If we were to be snow covered, obviously that could restrict the growth of the plant. If you had significant snowfall or significant heat, that could quicken the process. With that being said, in terms of maintenance, the mowing patterns are still in place, but those will change as the plant starts to grow. Now the nice thing is you are going into the off season where the growing season isn't as lucrative. It doesn't grow as fast, but we would say that
Is the
60 days is probably a pretty good guess.
Is the proposal that he's buying a golf course or is he buying the raw land?
What
Sandy
proposal are you talking about?
The one that's on the table that,
from
In
Udan.
reserve?
yeah,
He has no interest in the golf course as it stands today.
as it stands today.
Right.
We're into
We're into the minutes.
Yeah, let's
I don't
get
know
the-
why.
Could we back this up, Sandy?
Yeah.
Do you want to make a change of these
Yeah,
minutes?
just a change in there that my comments were really, if
Okay.
in fact Toll Brothers bought the property, was there enough area left over to keep a 9-hole course? And I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as
With that
amended.
correction?
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, the minutes of June 27th can now be
Official minutes.
official. And now we have July 27th.
I'll make a motion, we accept them as presented.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Good.
Minutes are approved, thank you. I would just like to say a few things and then we can talk about other business which could be approved by the commission, or we can just discuss what you have, your questions, Sandy. I would just like to start my comments by saying that I so appreciate the time you've all put into this commission, especially Dolph. He's been here from the beginning. I'd also like to say that Deke, who spent, I think, as many years as Dolph on the commission, as chairman and secretary. I do appreciate all the work he put into this. I wanted to thank the people from Casper, Tommy Miller, Steve Landis, Michael Morales, our superintendent, Dennis Petroselli, and truthfully, all of the people who work at the Country Club of Woodbridge have done an amazing job. When you're there, you feel like it's become your home, and when you play with other people who just come to the golf course, they comment on the people in the pro shop, they comment on the men who are helping them with their bags, they comment on the starters. So it's always a good feeling, and I just think it's important to recognize all the hard work that everybody from Casper also put into this. That's really why I wanted to have this meeting. I wanted to thank you, I wanted to thank them, and I also wanted to thank Deke for all his hard work. Now, if there's anything else you wish to discuss, or any other new business, I'm happy to entertain it. I don't really have any answers
Okay.
for the town.
Well, the only thing I have a problem with is somewhere along the line, when we get a letter from the ordinance committee saying, look, it's disbanded. I think that, I've only been here for a year, I think. You people put a lot of time in it. I think that somewhere along the line, the proposal that was presented to the board should at least have been looked at. It was looked at by the Board of Selectmen. But here's the commission that's been working for years, not me, but the rest of you. At least we could have seen the proposal that you put out to keep the golf course going. I know there was some comments related, it was gonna be costly, but we never seen it. And I think the town at least owed us, for the time that we put in, to at least look at that proposal that you put in. You put a proposal in, okay, to keep the golf course open for another year. It was never presented to us. It was presented to the Board of Selectmen, and they decided it's too costly. But I think they owe this commission that put a lot of time in, at least the ability to look at that proposal. Whether it was a good proposal or it was a bad proposal, I don't really know.
Are you
But
talking about the proposal from Billy Casper Golf to operate for another year?
To keep it going until something happened.
That was being done at another level above Tommy and I, between our regional and the Board of Selectmen themselves, Tony Genovese and the Board of Selectmen themselves. That was being done at a level above us. So we wouldn't have been able to present it to you. It would have, I guess, it been presented down from above you.
Well, it was told to me that somewhere along the line, for the next year until something happened, the proposal was back for 3 years ago.
I think,
So I can comment maybe
Right.
just a little bit on this. So one of our concerns from a Billy Casper standpoint was, with us being in the last year of a contract, and then maybe the lack of stability that we had seen this year between us not having a contract, and then what the overall perception in the town was with what was going to happen with the country club. From a business perspective, we would have needed more insulation for us to move forward with a new proposal. For example, we would have to go back to that old agreement where we would be more than happy to operate or manage the facility. But as far as us being on the hook for profit and loss, we would probably have to go in a different direction based on the questions that are surrounding the club.
But I didn't see any numbers.
no, we never saw them.
We never saw those. So just so we're clear,
Right.
we never saw those.
None of
I mean,
us
I
ever
never
saw
saw it
them.
either, so.
And I think that this is a discussion that is public comments for the Board of Selectmen. I never saw them. I'm sure Deke never saw anything. This was done at a level above us, and so I don't think that anybody here really can comment on what happened, because we don't have the knowledge of what really, what the real proposals were and the
Right.
discussion.
And what I'm saying is that somewhere along the line, for the time that we put into this, now, you have your meetings at 6 o'clock. I get home at 5:30. I gotta eat fast to come here.
I understand that, Rich, but
And I
this,
think that someone, if we should have at least been
I
shown
think that is a discussion that you should have, not with this commission, but with the Board of Selectmen.
Well, I think the Board of Selectmen is here, one of the members, and I'm sure they're gonna see this. And I'm
Oh, okay.
presenting my,
Okay, but I think that perhaps the appropriate place is at a Board of Selectmen meeting with public comments.
well, one thing that, one thing I didn't see, and maybe I'm wrong, I never heard anything about a public hearing on this ordinance.
Yeah, there was a public,
There was a public hearing. I attended it. And I sent everyone, and I attended it, and I have
Yeah.
the comments that I made that evening. I brought them, if you want to read them after the meeting. I spoke quite
Was it-
forcefully.
Was that in the paper?
yeah, there was.
Truthfully, it is a little, interestingly enough, Rich, it's a little notice that if you don't know what you're looking for, one of my friends pulled it out. I didn't know
It's a
to
legal
report.
notice.
It's a
You should
legal
be
notice.
Familiar with those as a marshal.
I did see the notice that was put in, that the commission is ended October 29th. I did see that,
That was the article that we.
but I never seen the,
There was a legal notice.
The legal notices in the classified section.
Yes, it's a little tiny,
Yeah.
not very big, and truthfully, I never read them. I don't read about people's foreclosures so I don't really know them. But I have a friend who obviously does because she handed it to me. And I believe I sent you an email at some point telling you that I was going to speak.
are there minutes
It's
of that
okay.
ordinance meeting?
Yes,
Sure.
Are they on the internet?
I don't know if they're there yet.
sometimes it takes a long time for the minutes
There's
to
a lag.
get
I don't
there.
know
Yeah,
if they're there yet.
there's a real lag, truthfully. But there are minutes.
That was September 14th, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I tried to get it blocked out.
yes, it was September 14th. And it was not a well-attended meeting.
That was the board meeting, the ordinance committee meeting, which I thought you asked if there were minutes of the ordinance
They
committee.
were at
Oh,
the
I
same-
didn't, I was talking about the Board of Selectmen. I spoke before the Board of Selectmen. I did not go to the ordinance meeting.
Yeah, either way, but there's minutes of the ordinance committee meeting as well.
But the hearing on this ordinance, that was a special meeting?
No, it was part of the Board of Selectmen. meeting.
Part of the Board of Selectmen meeting.
In other words, they had that first and then they had the meeting?
No, it was, I think at 6, I don't hold me to it. I think it was at 6:30, there's a stated time, and we do other business, and then at that stated time, we have the public hearing.
But you know, this whole thing, I'm missing something, and I'm not gonna let it go away. Here the Board of Selectmen said, look, we're gonna get rid of the golf commission, okay? And they don't notify the golf commission to make any comments?
I think the golf commission was notified.
No, we were not, Joe.
We were not.
I'm sorry, and it's
All we
not the
got
golf,
was an
excuse
email.
me, gentlemen,
And-
it is not the golf commission. It is the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission.
Okay,
Right.
And at some point before things went to recreation and got taken over, the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission was in charge of the pool and the tennis courts. And then it got turned around.
And the building.
And the building, and then everything got turned around. But we were not, Joe, I'm sorry, we were not notified. If my friend hadn't given me that little article, I never would have known.
Well, what are you being notified of what? Richard asked the question. Notified of what? My recollection is after that ordinance committee meeting, and to set the record straight, what we did is we said that we voted to repeal the ordinance that was the authorization of this
Right.
commission.
That was done.
And my recollection was there was an email sent
Yes, there
after
was.
that to everybody on this commission.
Yes, you're
So
right.
to me, that means notice. So unless you're more specific, I think you got notice.
We did get notice. You might have just skipped over that email, but
You might have.
yeah, because you
Well,
get it very much.
I watched my email.
I
You
didn't.
got
I
you
saw
got
it.
an email.
I
Jerry
saw
Shaw
the
sent
email.
it.
It
Yes,
came right
I
out after
remember.
the ordinance committee.
That was after the fact, wasn't it?
After what fact?
It,
After the fact of the ordinance committee meeting, yes.
yes,
But it was before the fact of
of the Board of
public
Selectmen meeting, right.
meetings, I mean,
It was
right.
after the fact of the ordinance committee, before the fact of the Board of Selectmen, right?
I believe
Right.
so.
I believe so also.
I think from a Casper standpoint, we'd like to thank everybody on the commission. We understand that the fourth Monday of the month was something that we always look forward to as a Billy Casper family. We understand that you guys can spend your Monday nights doing a lot of different things. Finishing dinner at a reasonable time, but also I know you have family and friends that you'd like to spend time with. So we always appreciated that fourth Monday of every month that we got to spend with you guys. Moving forward, our plan tentatively is to cease operation October 30th. October 31st, we'll kind of button up any loose ends that we have. It probably doesn't make sense for us to continue to kind of leak oil on the way in here, so we're going to try to save the months of November and December. Obviously, all tentative, anything can change, but that's kind of our Billy Casper plan moving forward. We would like to recognize Deke for his contributions that he made to the commission, and obviously everything that you guys contributed. I think that we learn just as much from you guys as citizens and people who serve the community as you learn about golf, and it was a cool dynamic and it was a cool relationship. I know this is my first board that I got to work with, and when I go to club meetings and I hear the horror stories and I say, man, I have it really good because our group's very supportive and they give good ideas and they want to be there, and so I can't thank you guys enough for that time and effort, because I can tell you that we, Steve and I and Ryan and Dennis all appreciate the goodwill and the good intention, so thank you guys.
One thing I always wanted to ask, what's the total amount that it takes to run that course? I know how much you get, and I know how much the way that it was split. But what does it really take in dollars? $500,000?
Richard,
Anything
it's honestly like me asking you, how much could I feed you for in a day? Could I feed you for $1 and feed you rice and bread every single day?
Yeah.
I could. Or could I feed you filet mignon and lobster every day, and you're going to get a different price based on what you'd be interested in doing? Could you do it for $500,000? Maybe. Could you do it for $1 million? Yeah, probably. But there's no right or wrong answer there. It all depends on your revenue streams, and then also what you're willing to do on the expense side. If you want green grass or brown grass, do you want tall grass or short grass? Those are all factors. So for me to give you like a blanket answer of like $1 million, that's pretty irresponsible of me. So I would say that it would fluctuate depending on what you were trying to accomplish.
But I mean, for standard running.
There's no standard answer is what I'm going to tell you.
Manpower and
There's
all
no
different.
there's no standard answer.
With the way the club was run or is run now, was it moving upwards? Was it where you were getting in a better position?
We've seen a high water mark in 2015. We were in the second year of a contract. We had a stable membership base. Our outing revenue was significant. I think after town contribution, we netted about $150,000, give or take. You were looking at about a $1.2 million expense line, with the revenues coming in about 1.35. So, and those numbers are within like a couple $1,000s. I'm not 100% of those, but generally speaking, those are what we operated at. To put it in perspective for you, Sandy, when Phyllis was a member at the club in 1998, you probably had about $2.5 to $2.7 million in dues, food and beverage, kind of the whole shebang. But it was a different product at that time, meaning the expenses were much higher, and the club probably operated at a $0, meaning a nonprofit. So the expense and the revenue were there to offset.
But Sandy, to answer I think what Sandy was asking, yes, after 2015, it was going up. We had over $200,000 worth of tournaments. But then when there was no contract, what happened was they would have this great tournament, 200 people, 100 and whatever, but they wouldn't sign up for the following year because all of the press was, the Toll Brothers are coming, the course is going to close. There was no contract. And the other thing that we lost members who were looking ahead to the next year, and I'm happy to play it a variety of times. I have that leisure. But there are a lot of people who only want to play at certain times. So for them, they wanted, as groups, to move on to a place that could guarantee them those times for next season. This season, was already
Over.
for them, even though it had just begun.
Nobody
Because
wants to be a
that's what they
member
wanted.
at a club for 1 year.
Yeah, I know.
When you join a club, you expect to be there for 10 years or 15 years or whatever you expect to be there. And with what was out there and very public, it was tough to sign members up. That
Yeah,
would
no
be
new
there.
business, no new business
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I realized
yeah.
that. I realized that as soon as the contract was not renewed, that was going to happen.
But Tommy had a lot of good momentum going in
Yeah, I know he did.
2015. There was
Right,
the club was headed definitely in the right direction. It was going in the right direction.
If you know, at Oxford Green and at the Orchards,
Lyman Orchards.
yeah,
Lyman Orchards.
Lyman Orchard. Does Casper get revenue from the bar and so on? In the do they run that?
I'll let
clubhouse?
Steve comment on Oxford.
Oxford Greens, I was the GM there for 6 years prior to coming to the Country Club of Woodbridge. We managed that for a management fee. We're paid a monthly management fee from the owners. It's not owned by the town, it's owned by a corporation of 3 owners. It's a very profitable golf course. I can tell you that without divulging their numbers. That would have to come from above me. But the golf course does make money. It does very well.
Is that counting the bar revenue and the restaurant?
Everything is handled by Billy Casper Golf. We hire the chef, we hire the sous chef, we hire the superintendent. Everything is the whole golf course is managed by Billy Casper Golf. F&B, banquets, everything. They've done weddings there. They've done all those small weddings because they're in the tent, and they do probably 50 golf outings a year.
Okay, how about Lyman Orchards?
Lyman is a little different, structure.
36-hole facility.
With them having the
different.
orchards, they actually outsource their food and beverage to a third-party group. But with that being said, they also pick up maybe some ancillary revenue from the orchard, from some of the food and beverage not food and beverage operations, but they're able to see some ancillary income from people who are at the facility and then come in to utilize the golf course. But Wittenberry Hills, which is another one of our Connecticut properties, same as Oxford, they operate the food and beverage in-house and then generate
And that's a
generate
municipality too.
Yeah.
That's a muni. Yeah.
So Del Webb does not have anything to do with the golf course.
At Oxford Greens, no.
Okay?
One other, looking at the other clubs you're having, okay, can you see the future in golf moving up? In other words, membership, more people playing.
We see the market thinning itself out.
Has the market itself for golf increased in the last year or two?
Flat.
It's been
Flat, but we've seen the market thin out. We had some people that were in golf who probably shouldn't have been in golf, and we're starting to see those properties go away.
I was up in Farmington, Tunxus. I couldn't believe how many people were playing golf.
Well, there were 200 people on the golf course at the Country Club of Woodbridge on Friday because we got off. It was so crowded. So
I went by today.
Finished the day at 2.
it was crowded today too.
Finished the day at 2:26, I believe, on Friday.
226. I left at 200. They were still playing when I said I've had enough. So there are still a lot of people playing golf in this area. That's for sure.
Do you think the proposal that is, putting you on the spot, I realize that, the proposal that is before the Board of Selectmen with combining the Yale Golf Course with this golf course and building a lodge is a practical,
From
It's a business plan that it has been put together by that Redan, by the Redan folks and Roland Betts. He's seen it be successful in other parts of the country. Will it be successful here? I can't say. I mean, he talks about the dynamic of being between Boston and New York and getting the people that are traveling back and forth, and he might be successful, he may not. He has seen that success. He's modeling it after other golf courses around the country that are doing the same thing. So,
with the parkway going down the middle.
Yeah, well, from our, just from and this is us just, kind of conversing about it. You've got one of the best institutions in the country that wants to be associated with your property. You've got the best designer in golf who wants to come in and redo your property. The way that I was told was it was an open space option, or there was the proposal, and it's probably the equivalent of getting a hole in one and making like a 20 on a hole. I mean, they're so widespread on the two options, but from a golfer's perspective, to have a facility that's in the top 100 that's done by Gil Hans, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Obviously, I think that Betts has a good background. You've got one of the best institutions in the country that's willing to back it. It sounds like there's no natural enemies to that proposal.
Except the towns.
The town?
Well, we don't know what Woodbridge will do. We don't know what New Haven will do.
We don't know what Yale will do.
Right. Okay, people.
Just one last question.
Okay.
Is there an exit strategy you guys plan on winterizing the place, irrigation, or you guys going
the irrigation will be blown out.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's happening in a third week in October. So the irrigation will be protected. They'll do that. We're not planning on an aeration. And as far as winter chemical protection, as far as putting the protecting surfaces down on, we are not planning on doing that. It would be too early to do it in October anyway. And that wouldn't be done normally till around Thanksgiving, somewhere in that area there. And we currently don't plan on being there. That could change between now and, again, our regional's talking with the Board of Selectmen. That there is a possibility that I might stay on property and continue to operate it for a short period of time. Dennis would have to stay to make sure the leaves. That's the other thing too. The leaves will have to be blown off the property too, if it's going to continue at a golf course going forward, because the leaf damage over the winters under the snow can do some damage to your turf too. But that's. I mean, we'll make sure that the tent is down. The tent is down, put away. All of that stuff is. All of your equipment and everything is winterized and ready to go.
Yeah, my guess is we'll have a formal walkthrough.
Yeah.
With everybody. Here's the keys back. Here's the bag room's clean. I mean, everything's functional. All your assets are taken care of.
There is some talk of one or two of us being on property after October 31st. I don't know how definite that is yet, but
sounds like the commission would have came in handy during that time period.
I'm sorry?
It sounds like the commission would have came in handy during that time period.
We won't be here.
I know.
Not here.
That was my point I wanted to make.
Right. Okay?
Thank you, guys.
I mean,
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
And I just want to offer too the fact that after October 31st, those of you that on the committee that have my cell phone number, you'll know how to get in touch with me if you need me to go back to the property to walk through something with you. I'm happy to do that. So.
I thank you all.
My pleasure.
We're
Adjourned?
done.
Motion to adjourn
Got a second?
permanently.
I second.
Those in favor? Okay.
Phyllis, thank you for calling us.